Hang on a second. A podcast? Wait, with two of my best friends for so many years? Just a second. Three fully grown men just discussing our shared love for the Australian children's television program Bluey? I don't mind if I do.
Sounds like a good movie title, Three Men and a Bluey. Is that fair to say? Three Men and a Little Bluey, isn't that the...
I'm not saying that there's nothing in that to explore. Could be.
This episode of the Hammerbot Project is called The Machine Puprising.
Frank.
Yes, Brendan.
How you doing?
I'm very well, mate.
Marty.
Yes, Brendan.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay.
He seemed rather stunned by that intro, I've got to be honest. He sat there with a big smile on his face going, is this how we're starting the show now? Is this a thing?
You just never know.
I've heard of cold opens, but this is ridiculous.
Speaking of stunning, what a stunning show Bluey is. You know what I mean? Should we talk about an episode of it?
Yeah, well, we're here.
And you guys did spend all that time setting up the stuff.
I'm down. Gets my vote.
And
If I just string heaps of positive remarks like sign me up, I'll do it.
I'm down.
Capital idea. Does it come across as excitement? And do you think the listeners will feed off of that? That's the idea. Whether it works in practice remains to be seen.
So, what episode are we talking about today? Wait, that's my line. I'm meant
your
to
line.
do this.
Yeah.
This episode of Bluey is called The Claw.
Which is funny because recently in the Quiet Game episode when we had your lovely wife on, we were trying to figure out what was the first episode she saw. And I think she said it might have been...
Sean.
Sean.
Sean, yes.
Yeah. She said it might have been Sean, but she thought maybe she only thought it was Sean because you were spruiking
Correct.
Sean to everyone.
Yes.
And you said, it's like, have you ever seen Liar Liar?
It's the
It's
Claw.
the Claw. And then, but you mentioned that because of Sean.
Yes.
You said, but like on Liar Liar. And I said, I was watching that the other day.
You did.
Then she said, no, it might have been the Claw. And we didn't make the connection that was both. I just thought that was funny. That, you mentioned Liar Liar for the other one.
So now you're doing that numerous episodes afterwards in a podcast.
Yeah. Liar Liar. What a movie.
So, are you enjoying our podcast where we recap previous episodes of our same podcast? Because this is great content.
This is an
Just putting it out
endlessly
there.
recursive series of podcasts. Please join us next week where we talk about this week and just do it faster and faster.
It's like fractal. You
Yeah,
can
that's
just,
endlessly, yeah.
each part of the pattern contains the whole
You're just going to speed up the editing.
maths.
All right, so speaking of speeding things up, Marty, can you take us into the bare bones of this episode, please?
Well, this episode is a pretty clear homage to the 1984 Arnold Schwarzenegger film, The Terminator.
Oh, man.
Yes. I'm just going to keep on going.
I love how organically this Arnie thing. None of us expected this. I love it.
please.
So it's a story about a machine that is slowly taking over the world. There is the machine uprising in there. No, sorry. This is an episode in which the girls find a claw machine. They try to play it. They lose their money very quickly, and then it's about Dad pretending to be the claw machine and hilarity ensuing, as I usually say.
So jumping ahead to my notes here, now that you've mentioned Terminator, all I've got in one of my notes here is the music, and all that's running through my head right now is
How cool. Just such an iconic theme, and it's purely percussive. How is that?
only to be topped by Phil Collins on the drums. What's that song with the gorilla?
I can feel it calling in the air tonight. There was a rumor that was about when he was a kid and there was a pool and somebody let someone meet their fate in the pool. Turns out that's not true at all, but it was, I think Phil Collins has spoken about that and said that he wishes it was true because it's
better than a gorilla playing drums.
Then again, don't take my word for it because it might be like I'm just a guy on a podcast who's not supposed to be talking about Phil Collins. So what do I know? But speaking of things that I'm not supposed to be talking about, the theme from Terminator.
Yes,
I can't remember who composed it. Because I know I know we haven't even really finished the bare bones. Can I just quickly...
We haven't really talked about Bluey to this point, so why start now?
No. I'll just quickly call my niece, Neve.
Yeah, sure.
And just because she'll know who composed that.
Okay.
It's just brilliant. It's just totally... Oh.
Neve's phone.
Hey, Neve. How you doing?
Oh, hey. Good, thanks, Uncle Brendan. What can I do for you?
I know that you are probably, like I am, a bigger fan of Terminator 2 rather than the original Terminator. I know some people think that's sacrilege, but...
T2 all the way.
Preach, Frank. Give me that sweet Arnie redemption arc.
Yeah, exactly.
Liquid metal bad guys. Sarah Connor kicking butt this time around.
It has everything, doesn't it?
And then some.
Was James Cameron the first?
Yes, he co-wrote and directed both, but number 2 he produced as well.
Oh, yeah. No. That's what I thought. But the composer of the theme.
Yes, the famous G-G-G-G-G. That would be the work of Brad Fiedel.
Of course.
Yes.
That's how I knock on doors.
That's an interesting bit to commit to.
Because, I'm being a postman and I knock on doors when I have parcels for people.
Oh, I see. That's a lot of doors.
And that's how they...
Has anyone ever recognized the reference?
Yeah, no one has. Oh, hang on. My friend Ben Timmis, he got it once.
Phew, one is better than nothing.
Anyway, thank you, Neve.
Pleasure's all mine.
Bye now.
I'll be back.
So there you go.
Right.
I told
Mystery
you,
solved.
I told you she would know. Go. I recommend everyone knock on doors like that and see who gets it and see who deserves to be a friend and who doesn't. That's how I also press the pedestrian buttons on when I go to cross the road. You know how you have to press it more than once. Because once isn't enough. You got to go, but it kind of excuses it if you just go, and then, you might make a friend, a stranger friend on the road. Terminator 2.
Folks, I'm really sorry that I mentioned this music thing. It's kind of derailed the show quite
I'm sorry that I mentioned Terminator. I'm just going to strike that off the list.
No, you're not. Now, do we even finish your bare bones, Marty?
No, yes, we did.
We did.
But I was going to pick up on the theme of music. Obviously, we have the establishing shot, which I'm going to come back to in a second. But did you guys notice what the music is that the machine plays? That the claw machine plays?
Cannon?
Yeah, it's Packer Bell's cannon sped up. And I think one of my favorite things about this entire episode is how realistic that machine is.
Oh, man.
And just how well done. It's got the big flashy button. It's got the toys. It's got whatever. It's got sped up, plinky plonky, rights free track.
Yes.
As the music, which is just absolutely spot on.
And then when the money runs out, it's just everything goes off in one.
I love how realistic everything about the machine is. Also, throughout this episode, I love how realistic just the disappointment is. And I just feel like their relationship with the machine is exactly the same as what my relationship was with all pinball, skill tester, arcade machines. Where as a kid, of course, you don't have unlimited coins.
That's right.
And I'm one of 7 kids. My parents couldn't afford to be dishing out, dollar coins every 5 minutes for these arcade machines. And so it was a rare treat to use one. So skill testers where the idea is that you don't win, the owner of the machine makes money. It's so like Bandit kind of gets it.
Yep.
He knows that, you can't win every time because his sort of reenactment of the machine is dare I say, a lot more realistic than Chilli's because they lose.
That was one of the other things I think I've mentioned once or twice in the past that I feel like there's somebody with game design background because the phrase it wouldn't be exciting if you won every time is something that comes up in game design, the balancing.
And he's also kind of
having success all the time just isn't fun.
Yeah.
And then it plays out because in Chilli's game, you win all the time and they're just like,
exactly.
No, I don't want to play again.
Don't want to play. I just like when they're in the car coming home and they're so frustrated that they
silly game.
Yeah, and I know what that. I still feel that way about skill testers and things because they sit there and they taunt me, and they're just like, "You can do it," and then you never. And I do feel rotten about it for the rest of the day.
You mentioned, Marty, the opening scene, and this is one of my favorite ones because it's so simple. I'm pretty sure the opening shot, it's like the table at a restaurant type thing, and there's half-eaten chips and stuff, and then it's sort of you pull back and you see the skill tester, and it's got that. It's like a purple carpet, I think, that's got stars. And you go, they're at a pub. 100%. I've been to that pub many times. I know what it looks and smells and sounds like.
I've got a note here that says, like, I can feel the texture of the carpet.
Yes.
And you can smell that carpet. You can tell how much, like, beer and soft drink it's soaked up.
It's inexplicably sticky.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even though it's just been washed.
You know, it is exceedingly tactile, isn't it? And especially that sort of random, colourful patterns, like you kind of get on the bus seats and stuff like that.
Yes.
It's just something that has that character to it. And it's just like, this is a public space.
Someone in 1981 designed the textiles for a bus seat, and then they have not changed since then. No one's ever gone, hey, should we rethink the crazy space station style colours of these crazy zany bus seats? And no. Leave the bus seats alone.
I think for some of our international listeners, they may have no idea what we're talking about. We will put up a picture on our socials to show you this insane bus. To us, it's part of life, but to other people, they're like, "What are you talking about, boys?"
Yeah, how universal is that material of a
That's a really good
coach
question.
seat?
Send us a picture of your bus seats from all around the world, please. We want to see.
It just feels like somebody over-ordered.
Yeah,
They just bought a cheap roll of something.
Globally.
There was just like heaps of it. They're just going to go, yeah, we've got at least, 20 to 30 years left because, let's be honest, they never changed them.
I love that little exchange when Bingo runs to Dad to try and
great,
find some coins for the machine. And Bandit's obviously just eating his weight in pub meal. and
Leaning back.
And Chilli's still like just slowly having a salad. But Bandit looks just like I do after any burger.
Entirely replete. He's ready to undo a buckle.
Yes, and she's so excited about this skill tester.
She forgot her words.
She's got, and that's a really cool, of course, children of her age sometimes get so excited that they forget to use words to explain it. And it's a cool use of dogness as well, the way she's just yelping and Bandit's like, use your words.
And I'm sure, Marty, you can probably speak to this in the same way I can, where we're trying to teach our respective children, use your words as opposed to just random crying or just like, stuff that doesn't make, you can see what they're trying to do and you're like, come on, use your words, please. What do you want? What's wrong? Why am I the villain again? Like all those sorts of things.
And I love the coaxing of using one word in particular. and it is a win. You think like, come on, like you should trying to teach Bingo to use manners, but Bandit doesn't actually spell out the whole word.
I think
he nearly gets the S, and then she says please, and he's like, oh man, that's a win.
I'll take it.
And then he just kind of drops the coin. I love that he doesn't give it to her. He
there you go.
Pings
just
it.
flicks
It's
it
just on the floor. The way that she runs on frame and he says, hi, fun size.
Yes.
That I guess that's one of the endearing terms that Bandit calls the kids.
I've not heard that one
so
before,
many different
fun size, but
really?
I'm using it.
Yeah, fun size as in the small chocolate bars or whatever it might be.
Which, I mean, it's the age-old question, how is that more fun, less chocolate? I'm not the first person to say that, and I won't be the last.
It's marketing, people. It's all about marketing.
I also want to give a shout out to a sound clip we've heard in many a Bluey episode now. But when the skill tester shuts down and, you get that look of anger and disappointment on Bluey's face and just the, what? Which I'm pretty sure is a reused sound clip. But every time I hear it, I go, it strikes that perfect balance between anger, frustration, and just utter confusion. Like, you said what? I love it.
Yeah, and it's used again later in the episode when it's Bandit's turn.
Yes.
You don't know what you're doing. I'll show you how it's done.
That's right.
And the first time, it's almost more of a betrayal because Bluey's kind of thinking, Dad, this was supposed to be, you're actually in control here. You could do it and you still made me fail? What?
Why would you betray me?
It's just the disappointment is so real. I don't want to say that too much, but I can't put my finger on how, but this episode really properly portrays the weird relationship I have with things that I feel like I should be good at, and then I try them, and then they let me down, and I just feel so dirty about it. It's just I just really feel for them.
I love the way this portrays the two different parenting styles when it comes to this. Like, as we sort of touched on it before, but, Chilli's sort of like, everyone wins a prize.
Yeah.
And then you got Bandit who's like, no, go and get a job. Like,
Yeah, and I love Chilli's reaction to that.
Chilli has two of the best lines in
absolutely.
this episode that are like sort of top 10 Chilli moments of the series,
Yes,
in my opinion.
that's exactly what Erin was saying today. When I
Okay, first one?
when I mentioned the one that I'll let you mention,
You
the,
do one.
the one,
Yeah.
she said that might be the best.
Best Chilli moment.
Yeah, best
of all
Chilli. But
time.
you brought it up, man. I don't want to take it.
So the first one I'll sort of speak to, which we've, Chilli's had her turn. Bandit's like, nah, that's not how you do it. Oh, strap yourselves in, kids. Which is just a low saying, here comes the crux of the episode. Really.
Yep. And when they run off,
He basically says, I'll give you a coin, but you got to go do your chores first. Okay, this is great. They're learning a lesson and we're getting the house clean. Neither of those things are happening. and it's the way she does it. Just like, stop being smug. Neither of those things are happening, champ.
Oh, man. It's so good.
It's so good. And the best part of it is she's in the same room the entire time.
Yeah.
So how does she know that things are getting like half done?
She knows.
She
Her
just
mum knows.
She just knows.
Mum just
And
knows.
she's
Like,
a little bit baffled as to why Bandit could be fooling himself into thinking that they're doing anything properly. When they first run off to make the bed, and she's like, I've got my eye on you. What is it?
I'm watching you, Magic Claw.
and he doesn't move at all. They don't make eye contact or anything. He just stays sitting there.
Yeah. And like the job they do of the bed, they
make it
it's
worse.
so rubbish. It's
I think they make it worse than it actually was.
And they just have a mutual confirmation that it's okay.
Look at
They're
each
just
other like,
yep, good
and
job. Good.
when he says that line of, oh, this is great, they're learning a lesson and the house is getting clean, you can see him writing on that cube.
Ah,
You can see
good
him
spot.
writing the ice cream line.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Mm.
The dolphin that is sort of, is Bingo's toy in this episode, is it called Grey Dancer? Is that the name of it?
I thought it was Grey Dancer, yeah.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure. I even went back, listened to it a couple of times, and I still wasn't convinced I'd picked it. Grey Dancer. Okay, sure.
One of the other things I really like, because we progressively get into it, and it's another good way to show the contrast between Chilli's playing of the game and Bandit's playing of the game, is when Chilli's doing it, we're just seeing like front on, she's got her legs crossed, she plays the thing. When Bandit does it, we get the reproduction of what it looks like from inside the machine from earlier on in the episode.
Yeah.
Where the
camera
hands
shot, yes.
just straight down and just like unrealistically straight down.
Yeah.
Super long.
And dropping up, and the things are moving around. But yeah, it's as if reproducing the look of them looking into the casing and seeing the hand moving. It's just so nice. It transports you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And without anyone rolling up any magazines. What's that one where they go on the walk and they go up the mountain and they're making their hands into fairies and puppets and things?
Is that
the Blue Mountains?
The Blue Mountains.
Yes.
I love how inconsistent that would be with reality because their hands are coming down from the top and they're so long.
The length of the arms.
And you kind of suspend your disbelief because it's just like, they're allowed to do that. But I love in this moment, it's inconsistent even within just the reverse shot because you can see how long it is, and then it cuts back to around the wide shot,
and
of
he's
them
like
all,
holding it in diagonally,
and his
There's
hands
no
just
way.
normal.
No
like,
way.
like there's no way you could have positioned that second camera. Not to mention that it's a cartoon.
I also want to shout out, I've seen this recently printed on a T-shirt as part of the Bluey Dads group I'm a member of on Facebook. And I'm going to try and attempt to do the voice, so apologies, Mr. McCormack. I am Magic Claw. I am not Dad. Magic Claw has no kids. His days are free and easy.
There are so many moments in this episode where they could have just delivered the line for the line's sake and what it does for the episode, but they slip in some parenthood bit.
Yeah. I wrote down it is an episode of Zingers.
Yes.
And it's just like
Yeah.
so many
Oh
Zingers
man,
in
boom,
this
boom,
one.
boom.
You spelt holder wrong.
I love that bit.
I was just about to mention the cube because
It just gets brushed over. And it was Dad who wrote it. You spelled holder wrong.
When Chilli's face, when she's reading the cube, she's reading it just sort of normally. And then when she realizes where the sentence is going, her eyes just drop to say, "Oh, Magic Claw, you dodgy bugger." And then, she gets, what is it? The holder gets 2 bottomless bowls of ice cream. What does Bingo say at that point?
Oh, what is
Bluey says something and then Bingo
goes,
bottomless.
I love that Chilli, I think it's actually the line you're mentioning is attached to it, but the fact that Chilli reads the message and then adds the additional stipulation of after dinner tonight, because that's just such a mum thing to do. I'm just like, okay, Dad's made this happen, but I'm just...
Here's the qualifier.
I'm just going to make this slightly more realistic.
Because I know your dad.
Now, I actually put this out on our Twitter a little while back, basically saying that Bingo is superior to Bluey. Changed my mind, and just to see what reaction we'd get.
And
I've got to be honest, most people agreed with me, but here's yet another example of why that's correct. Bluey just callously grabbing Grey Dancer off of Bingo and returning it to the Magic Claw so she can get this mystical, ice cream cube. And Bingo's just like, "Oh, Grey Dancer." And I'm like, "Bluey, you're the worst."
In Bluey's defense, that was all Bandit. He just said, "I will give you a
He set
coin
it
in
up.
exchange for that." He's just, why is he doing this? Why is he pitting them against each other? I love that they're just different. They're just like, I can't pick a favorite. I think I'm more like Bingo, because Bingo is, as we've discussed before, more prone to just completely disappear from this world.
She's more Space Cadet-y?
Yeah, more Space Cadet-y. And Bluey's like a real go-getter. She makes the games. She rallies people. And I've never been one of those, but I see her value.
So Bluey's more like your older brother Ryan.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And you have touched on something, and I'll shout out Ryan, because he will agree with this 100%. Sometimes Bluey does try to rally Bingo into a game, and it just doesn't work. And Bingo's just too much of a space cadet. And Ryan was always so talented at making up games, trying to get me involved. He'll get a treasure map. He'll have some potion that makes things invisible. And I would have seen a bug or something and just gone, "Oh, I'm out of it." That is so astute, Frank. You've blown my mind.
There you go.
I think we've talked about this in the past, Frank, and I think I do have to agree with you.
Ooh.
I am a Bingo fan more.
Yes.
Maybe it is that contemplative type side to things and just that. Yeah, I think I'm in alignment with you, Brenda. Just not the person who's... Well, maybe it's the introvert-extrovert thing. Maybe it's even that. I don't know, whether that's any even relevant anymore to people who want to talk about. I don't know. But yeah, so I think I'm going to have to fall with Bingo.
Look, of the two, I am probably more like Bluey as a kid, now that I think of it. But as an adult, I look back at it and go, "Gee, I hope my kid doesn't turn into a Bluey." If he could be a Bingo type character, I will take that.
Do you align yourself more with Bingo as well there, Marty?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because I can't decide who's my favorite out of the girls. So if Frank is Bluey and you're Bingo, maybe I just need to decide who's my favorite out of you guys. That doesn't help at all.
We'll be right back after this all-in brawl.
Yeah, do it.
Well, if I'm Bluey, Marty or Bingo, Brenny, I guess that just makes you Rusty?
I will take that any day of the week. Man, I clean up on this show. You called me Rusty once. Ali thinks I'm like the busker.
Yeah.
I just, all I need to do is come to this podcast. I don't even record anything. And I always leave feeling amazing.
Relating back to an earlier moment, but this also comes into stuff that we've previously done. I remember the story that you had, Frank, about you and Brendan going and knocking on people's doors, or just not actually know the story. It was about not knocking on people's doors.
It's a key point. Yes.
I remember that.
It's the weirdest thing. I said it then. I'll say it again. We were bored.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Okay. Here we go again with the fractal scenario where we're repeating. Anyway, the way he just says, "You lose." lose, try again. Or
You lose, you lose,
I
you
remember
lose.
that thing we used to have where we just imagined a game in which it wouldn't congratulate the winner. It would just completely admonish the loser. Do you remember that
Yes.
one, Brendan? So it was just like, you lose, you lose.
Yeah,
Why do you
yeah.
even play this game? You shouldn't even try. Go home. And if you are home, go to
bed.
What is that?
That's nothing. We came up with it.
just the same tone as well. Just like that gravelly, declaratory tone voice. It was just like, no.
Yeah, that was the video game we invented when we were playing other video games that we just found were too
kind.
too celebratory of wins and not accusatory enough of losses.
Yeah, that's right. It's like Mario Kart should really just rub it in
Yeah.
to the loser. It's like, well, the winner didn't really get
more
anything.
value out of. There's more losers than there are winners.
And then, of course, we come to the machine uprising and the downfall of the machines, ultimately.
I love how ill-fated it is. You really think it's going to be a thing, and then he just accidentally kicks the
that's right.
coffee table. It's just the machine uprising lasts for 2 seconds, and then there's a coffee table in the way. And he stubs his toe.
I love that it starts with him trying to mansplain. It's just like, you see, kids, the reason why... And then they respond with violence, which we know solves everything.
Yes.
Yeah. The lesson is tickle him.
And another Chilli zinger in amongst all that. Stick it to the man.
Stick it to the man.
Yeah,
And I love that.
That's a go, big go.
Another sort of moment that that Bingo gets back is during all that. When she gets Grey Dancer back, she just throws, get him, Grey Dancer, and throws Grey Dancer at Bandit anyway. So it was good that she got him back in the end so that she could use Grey Dancer as a weapon.
Hey, we've also mentioned recently the inclusion of long dog spotting in our episode reviews. This one does have a long dog in it, and it's actually just in the moment that we've just mentioned when the assault on the machine uprising takes place. Chilli actually, I believe, has said long dog in her hands and uses that to, attack Bandit. I've also been reading recently that as well as this long dog that we've talked about allegedly appearing in every episode, you will also find a tennis ball in every single episode of Bluey. At some point, just in the background, some are obviously more obvious than others. There is a tennis ball that appears in the background of the sort of main shot when Bandit is the claw. I think off to the left-hand side, you'll see a tennis ball.
Yeah, I think just when they come in the door as well.
Yep,
when they
one
come
in the
home,
hallway.
there's just one sitting by them.
And it's one of those things that you sit there and go, well, most houses in Australia have that anyway, let alone a house full of dogs. So you've probably seen it, however many times, and you don't even register that it's there all the time.
Yeah. If it's in a household full of dogs, it's the kind of tennis ball that I'm not going to pick up. I should say also, Marty, I'm just going back a bit, but when you said that it was Pachelbel's Cannon playing in the skill tester, I am sure, unless I'm very much mistaken, that I once saw one of those, what do you call them? It's not really a skill tester. It's one of the ones with the lollies in it, and there's the
slider?
The slider thing, and you've got to drop it at the right time so it pushes the... There was one of those where I swear to God, it had the tune from the Cantina Band from Star Wars. And it was
Figuring
playing on
Dan in the modal notes.
Figuring
Wow.
Dan. Martin, everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot of brain space I could be using for other things, but that's what it's stuck with now.
No, I swear that happened once. I
believe
I was
you.
listening to it
might
ages
even
and I
have heard that
recognized
one.
this.
Yeah.
I'm like, speaking of because of course Pachelbel's Cannon would be, in the public domain, but I just thought, was this licensed by Disney or something? But this
Probably
was
not. Like that machine, if a lawyer comes around the corner, that machine is sneaking away, just dashes off.
The lawyer's eyes just turn into dollar signs.
So, in closing, what would you say is the moral of the story today, guys?
These kids are awesome.
There it is. And I love that. Even though, you could be perceived as Bandit losing, he got attacked as Magic Claw, he's hit his shin, he had to give up the endless ice cream bowl cube. He's still, at the end of the day, he sees it all as a win, and he's just like, yep, that was a good day. That was a good day out. I love that. It's a real parenting moment that even in amongst all this perceived chaos, he's like, yeah, I love these kids. Oh, how good is that?
Well, guys, I don't know about you, but before I got here, I found this skill tester that I just could. I'm sure if I just put one more dollar in there, I know I can get it. I know I can get the what is it? The chocolate doodads? What are they?
Doodads. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, chocolate doodads. That's what they say. Yep.
I know I can do it.
Here's $1.
$1? Thanks, Frank. Well, back to the foyer of Hammer Barn for me. Do they ever have those things in hardware stores? They should.
I think I've seen them do like the classic gumball machine where it's like your 20 cents and you get a gumball. But
well, if there is a skill tester at Hammer Barn, you know where it would be. It would be where I like to go. Aisle 300.
Left of the fake grass.
If you're here to Flamingo, you've gone too far.
Created and produced by Frank, Brendan and Marty. You can follow the Hammerbarn Project on facebook.com/HammerbarnProj, at HammerbarnProj on Twitter, or Hammerbarn_project on Instagram. Theme featuring Nibblings, Kaylee, Jade, Ashley and Reese, and PA announcements by brother-in-law, me, Josh. Thanks for listening, and remember to get down to Hammerbarn for cheap shovels.